My name is Bryan Cannata. I am a 5th degree black belt in the Remarkable style of Kali. Today, however, we are not going to be doing traditional Kali because we have a very short period of time to work. We're going to approach the knife from a much more combative standpoint. We're not really going to be worried about drills. We're not going to be worried about a lot of the fancy stuff. But what I do want to do is give you a good base that you can leave here today and practice this stuff at home. Apply it to whatever system you're using, whether you're kickboxing, whatever. It doesn't really matter because this just will go hand in hand with whatever martial art is set. First thing to understand about the knife is everything we're doing with a knife is deadly force. In the eyes of the law, this is no different than a gun. All right? So the only time you use this is in the exact same circumstances that you would be legally allowed to use a firearm for your own self-defense or the defense of somebody else. All right, next thing you want to think about with a knife is this is not a power tool. You don't need strength to use a knife. You need to be smart, you need to be able to move, and you need to be able to outthink the other opponent. The edge is the power of the knife. In most cases, your interactions with a knife, the first contact you make will likely end the conflict. Countless occasions, people I've talked to, the first cut, as soon as blood is seen, people freak out. They're like, oh my God, I've been cut, oh no, and your opponent is back up. That being said, let's go ahead and move directly on into the basic use of a knife. Now, most Asian systems use numbering systems and angles as a very catch-all cover for how they approach their entire system. What we're doing here today is we're just going to cover the 7 basic ways a knife can cut. And we're going to put it together in a simple little flow. And then we're going to show you how to build on that flow and how to expand it. So, take a comfortable fighting stance. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Because this is the weapon. However you're comfortable fighting normally is where I want you to be. Okay? The first cut isn't even really a cut. It's a straight line stab right down the middle. There's nothing difficult about that. The important thing is, it comes right back, just as quick as it goes out. All right, that's 1. 2 is a curving stab, here. Now think about that like a hook. It's the exact same thing. You're just doing it with the point of the knife. So we've got 1, 2. Our next cut is a diagonal slash, 3. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 is an upward jab with the knife. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you're learning Kali, they're going to teach you all the angles. There's angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and so on, depending on whatever system you're in. That's a great visual reference. But the reality is, with what we're doing here, no matter what Frank is doing, I can attack with a 1. I can attack with a 3. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you're attacking from, these moves still apply. All right, so what I want you to do for a few moments is just go through this. Just simply do it like a kata. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Right there. It was right there. It went away. All right, 1, a stab right down the middle. 2, a hooking stab. 3, diagonal. 4, reverse diagonal. 5, opposite diagonal. 6, 7. All right?
That's
me. It doesn't matter. A lot of schools will put you here. A lot of schools will put you here. It's all what you're comfortable with. There is no dogmatic law. There is nothing that says that this position is superior to this position. Because if we're in a fight, we're in a conflict of any variety, you're not going to have time to go, oh, wait a minute, let me strike my perfect guard. It doesn't work that way. What's going to happen is somebody's going to attack you. You're going to see the need to use deadly force, and you're going to do it whether your feet are here, whether your feet are here, whether you're falling backwards. Doesn't matter. A competent fighter learns to hit anybody from wherever they are, and whatever angle they are.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How deep are you? Not really. You just basically cutting them. You don't care like on your first one, or are you really thinking about penetrating really, really deep, or is it just in and with all of them, or I mean, are you trying? Or
here's what's really awesome about a knife. A good sharp knife, the amount of pressure it takes to flay something to the bone is nothing.
Okay.
Really, think about cutting a piece of tender steak. We've all done that with a sharp knife. You know how easily that slices through.
Okay.
That's much less force than it takes to punch somebody and hurt them. It's a very good question. A knife with a sharp point will penetrate very quickly. In interviews of countless people, from police officers to soldiers to just random people that have been mugged, the most common thing that was said was, I didn't know I got stabbed. I thought somebody punched me. And then I looked down and I was bleeding. So it doesn't take much to penetrate. Our bodies are very soft compared to a knife. So, we got this? Sure. I want to go over it a couple more times because we're going to build on it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, by the way, the trainers you're using, these are made by a friend of mine in Thailand. They are fantastic. They're some of the best martial arts trainers you can get. They're solid enough that you can actually perform disarms and strips with them, that if you hit somebody with them, you can actually stop their forward momentum. And if you slash at somebody, unlike the old school aluminum trainers or steel trainers, these won't chip your bones. Whereas the standard rubber trainers are really floppy, and if you go to do a disarm or something like that, they just kind of fold over. So you can find these online. A lot of people all over carry them. If you're going to get involved in any kind of edge weapon martial art, or just really truthfully practicing self-defense against an edge weapon, get one of these so you can train hard. All right, so 1, nice central stab. 2, an arcing stab. 3, diagonal cut. 4, an upward stab. 5, the opposite angle. 6, a lateral slash. And 7, a lateral slash. All right, so easy peasy, right? We all got it? No questions? Any questions? All right, now we're going to make it difficult. If we can do that, we're now going to add in the second hand, because we're not just going to hold this. Our hand needs to do something. So, what we're going to do is 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hand, 4 hand, 5 hand, 6 hand, 7, hand. And it doesn't really matter where your hand's going. All I want you to do is just reach out.
It's 5, isn't it? 5 is missed. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Over here.
I skipped it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now this hand reaching out is going to be a blocking hand, it's going to be a checking hand. You can be grabbing the other person and pulling them into you, but learning how to use your 2 hands together is a complicated skill. And let's face it, even in most martial arts, we practice a block and a punch. We don't practice using both hands at the same time. So this simple little drill here will teach you to get those hands working in coordination. Now, who here kickboxes? All right. Those of you that kickbox with your knife, instead of worrying about some kind of, just get in your kickboxing guard. That's where you're going to naturally fight from. That's where you're comfortable from. Work it from there. If you're like a JKD guy with a strong side lead, have your knife out in front.
I noticed something, some people are fighting with it in their back hand, some of them have it in their front, which one?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because, let's face it, if Frank is attacking you, is it going to matter if I cut his arm with this hand? Or does it matter if I cut his arm with this hand?
But, well, it's getting at it, I'm turned this way, my knife is in my back hand.
Sure.
This hand, we feel it will be more effective, because it's closer.
Yes, it is closer, but it depends on what you're doing. Okay. If we are fighting at long range and we're sniping, yeah, I'm going to keep my arm out here. But the reality of most conflicts is what's going to happen is he's going to rush me, and I've got to do something to get out of the way with my empty hands. And now, at the moment of draw, when my knife was deployed, I'm here. My knife is in my rear hand. And that's why I say it doesn't matter. It's all situational. We could be grappling, and Frank's got my arm. And something that simple. So don't, like I said, don't get too focused on the actual, I've got to have this perfect form. If it works best for you, if you want to be a lead arm kind of guy, if this works good for you, that's fine.
That's good.
Nothing wrong with it. All right, so we got the 7 basic cuts. We understand the whole thing with the hand and alternating, right? Now we're going to make it a little bit more complicated. I said this is something I want you to be able to take home and practice. So we've got the interplay of the hand and the blade. And this is really great, especially if you're doing like, it's frequently referred to as the prison rush. Hand knife, hand knife, hand knife, hand knife. That's how the average criminal is going to attack. You see it. Do a YouTube search. It'll open your mind. All right, so we're going to go into combinations instead of just single stabs. So the way we train ourselves to do combinations is we go through our 7 cuts and we put them together. So we have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7. Then we go 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, on through. Make sense? Yep, exactly. It is the multiplication table of the knife. If you do it all the way through, you get 49 different individual combinations. All right, so why don't you run through that for a few moments?
We're not the hand, can you look at that?
You don't have to. That's actually the next step. It gets confusing.
I was counting, but,
It's okay.
that's cool. I like that. That's a really easy way to kind of build.
Yeah, it's a simple, easy way to start and build a skill set. All right. Now, we don't have to master this right now. Like I said, it's easy enough. Think about it, you can recreate it. And just a couple of little notes on it. The first one are your stabs. These are the ways you're going to stab people. A forward stab, a straight stab, and arcing stab. Your next cut. That's the very first, simplest human motion we make in a combative fashion. Now, what's the natural place to go once your hand is down here? Back up. Now, if you have a weapon like, say, a pyramid, all right? Geometry is suddenly very different, but the movements are exactly the same. 1, 2. All right. Now, back to the knife. Shoulder opposite hip. Just a diagonal slash. Shoot. And then 2 horizontal slashes. Those are the only ways your arm really moves to cut with a knife. No matter what system you come from, no matter what school, no matter what grip you're holding the knife in, reverse grip, foil grip, razor grip, you can go nuts with all sorts of different details. But no matter how I'm holding my knife, I'm still going to cut the exact same way. Right? It's kind of dictated by the form of the weapon. All right. So you build on that. You have a nice little skill set. Now we're going to move on to how to actually defend against this thing. I'm going to use Frank here. Frank is just going to feed me a straight stab to my body. It's called a stop. All right. Using two hands. I don't want to use one hand. One hand, he might slide by. If he's really coming at me, I've got to really bear down. Now, and I want to show you why I don't want to. If we bear down, I am now completely off balance. I know he's a grappler. He's going to slam my head into the ground if I'm here. I'm like here, throw my face down. So instead he attacks me. I'm just going to hit him here. Two hands. And now I've immediately cut him. And that's likely to stop it. It's likely to stop the confrontation. If he swings that stab up here, two hands. If I try like a traditional hard outside block, if I don't get this just right, this thing's going to hit me. If I'm off a little bit and I block his elbow, I've done no good. So I use two hands. That stops it on. All right, so what I want us to do is let's pair up. All right, wait, grab a partner. Yeah, that'll work. Now, what I want you to start off with is the person that's going to be doing the stabbing is called the feeder. All right? You are the feeder. All I want the feeder to do is at the moment a nice, easy stab right in the center of the chest. Now remember, your job here as the feeder is not to hurt your opponent or stab them. Your job is to give them something that they can practice their technique on. That is your responsibility, to make your partner a better fighter. All right? There you go. That's acceptable. I mean, that is a very viable technique. When you stab at me, two hands on the outside. This is where everything violates. We have two approaches. You can come down, and you come to the inside. When we get to half, we'll start working on the outside. And you want both hands on one side. We're not doing this. We'll get there.
Does it matter?
No!
Good.
No, it doesn't matter.
All right, I was telling her the other way about weight management.
Yeah,
Exactly wrong.
It does not matter. However you stab, if I do here, if I do this, if I do, it doesn't say two hands all the time. Personally, I like a knife here because it immediately opens me up for something that's going to stop it. And this with a tool, I have more leverage from the stronger part of the boss. If I'm just down here, yeah, I'm mining. We're used to worrying about for me, and I say for me, this is better. But that's me. If you are more comfortable here, go for it. Because there are a lot of schools that this never leaves this little box. So whatever you're attacking me with, it's just going to be right here. Yep.
Okay.
Don't even really think about the cut. Because the cut just happens natural. We're just going to do this. Boom. The follow-up, the repost, is right here. Boom. No. Yeah, no extra movement. There you go. Now, one of the reasons we use these knives is so once you get this down, when you're comfortable with the motion, go ahead and actually stab each other. Yeah, it'll sting a little bit, but if all you do, and this is one of the big problems with the way a lot of men's weapons are taught, is everything's taught at a false distance. If Frank and I stand out here, I can do whatever I want. But the reality is, knife attacks happen here. All right? It's not going to be at a false distance. If you are blocking a knife that's out here that's never ever going to touch you, you're training yourself to do the wrong thing. You need to block a knife that's going to hit you there. So feel free, once you're comfortable with the motion and it's good with your partner's up for it, go ahead and stab your partner. Try to stick to the medial parts of the chest. Don't hit him in the solar plexus because now I don't want anybody to yeah, we just date. Avoid the face. I don't want anybody losing an eye. Shame it. We're just working with one set.
You just hit it like 3 times.
Yes, it's exactly the same. It's the exact same principle. When he's stabbing, these scientific blocks, martial blocks. We want this solid connection to on that arm. What you're doing is you're doing this, blocking with the hands open, and now your hands can't do anything. And I am dangerously close to cutting myself. All right, as opposed to now I've lost him from hitting me, and I can in the conflict floor. I can say, hey, you want to stop? All right. Now, while you're doing this,
I like this one.
it gets kind of, we're just doing one stab. All right? As soon as you get comfortable, let's go along to number 2 stab. And it's the exact same drill. He stabs, you block it. Exact same thing. Exact same stop. There you go. Now, I honestly, I move naturally off of the flanks just without even thinking about it. For the purpose of the drill, you can just say your work. Ideally, move in. Alright. I like flanking him, I like passive. Alright. You got all this you can do, but right now, this is all I'm worried about. Just stopping and coming more. Because this is going to come in hard. So you can get a lot of stuff. If minor point, if you block this one, don't block here. Move it up to the bicep just a little bit. It makes a lot of difference. If this flats, you don't get it on for whatever reason. That knife, I'm giving him a leverage point. And his natural force will swing that around. So if I block here, and now you're there you There you go. All right, something I'd like you guys to try while you're doing this. Again, I'm just Frank. I notice a lot of you are knife hand blocking, and that's fine. Okay, especially if you've been training this. The only problem that I have, and why I don't use that technique personally, you might miss. Instead, in Salat, they have this whole theory that the live hand should have the consistency of a wet dish rag. So that when I block, it's a slap. It's, feel my hand? It's very relaxed. Because as you feed me, see, now I can turn his hand over. I can open that line. If I just knife hand block, he springs off of it. But maybe I want to move him to here. As you move on, you're going to find that this hand, there's so much you can do with it. Now, if you don't want to pursue Indonesian martial arts, Filipino martial arts, please, by all means, work with what you train, because that's what you're going to do. And if it's a knife hand block that. Now, if it's a hard outside block, do that. That's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just showing you variations. Okay. Yes, yes. And actually, as you go through it, at this point you understand the progression. Now that you've been fed the 2, the next stop is off the 3. So when you get tired of blocking this, block the 3 for a bit, and just go through the 7 steps. Yeah, it'd be exactly the same. There you go.
Go the flush.
Nice.
Don't make it with the top gun.
Try not to with palm. Palm is strong. Your fingers so the top of the hand is loose. With that palm I'm talking about what we're looking at. We're not looking at the axe mark or overhead. We're looking at the forward grip, and we're looking at the 2 is not this. The 2 is where you're playing. This is a very different type of stab than this. It's like a hook. Yes, yes. The 3 is a slice. The 3 is literally this. Simple cut. 3. Sorry.
thumbnail catches? No, 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 no. Is that true? That's nice boy, that's what you do. I was blocking.
Very good.
And then we didn't even get it on video.
Now you're way over there.
Yes, sir. On that slide, what's the block for that?
Which slide?
Number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is knives become extremely close quarters.
Nick.
And then we're like, as soon as I get it, I'm coming there and I'm stopping. Whatever. The moment I see that start to move, I'm gonna hit it. It's almost crazy. There you go. When it comes to using a knife, you have to have a dominant mindset. We're not fencing. We're not playing a game. Right. We are trying to dominate our opponent. So while we're training, we have nice energy that we play with. But the reality is, when we're going for it, it's going to be hard. It's going to be quick. So you've got to get out of the way. You've got to move. You've got to have that aggressive energy. You've got to have that will to overwhelm your opponent. Because this isn't an instant off switch. As you progress and you start getting targets and you really learn what you're doing, we go from a simple block to we start thinking, now I'm going to completely disable his arm. So instead of me blocking and just taking the higher arm ground to make sure that he doesn't hit me, my next stage is I'm going to cut that bicep. Now I've got the block, and now the arm doesn't work. And now I've completely defanged the snake. Now he can't bite me anymore. But before we can get to that point, then we start thinking about, I'm going to biomechanically cut something so that that limb's no longer useful. I've got to be able to get my hands on that limb. I've got to be able to stop it from getting into me. Make sense? All right. Let's play with this a little bit more for a few more minutes, and we'll take you on to the next part. There you go.
Yeah. I didn't do this. I'm impressed. You know, you like this? See me bugging around where I done on Friday.
Just get them online. Yeah, just do a search for not trainers.
Not trainers. Okay.
Yeah, she's got enough people that are interested in the United States. There you go. Good job, guys.
You know, he bought donuts.
Is there a burger?
This one.
No.
No. Yeah, exactly. The key thing is to, if my hand's like this, great. If my hand like this, awesome. If my hand like that, it's still a great move. All right, then please do this. We'll get to that eventually.
No, I gotta go.
But, all right. We only got like 15 minutes left of class, so we're going to move on to the next thing. Like I said, we're going to try to cover a lot of stuff so that you can take this home and do it on your own.
And I will probably ask Bryan to come back in the near future and do another seminar. He emailed a couple of years ago. He'll probably have him back in if he's able.
Yeah, I'm sure. You sure again, Mr. Frank? All right. We've dealt with stops. Stops are very simple. That's why we use the word stop. We are stopping the knife from hitting us. Next thing we're going to do is called a pass. Now a pass is a little bit more of an advanced skill, but it's still a basic skill. If he feeds me that angle here, I am passing the knife out of my way. All right? Now, that seems all matrixy, but this is all we're doing.
Then would you get it on
Absolutely. That's exactly what you would do. He's coming in. Oh, I didn't get to pass. I got to stop. Great. Then we can pass. All right? There's a lot of stuff that depends on energy. Pass, and when I say energy, I'm not talking about chi or anything mystical. What I'm talking about is the level of aggression and the level of commitment they have to the strike. When I'm actually engaged in sparring, I'm not going to overcommit. My cuts are going to be quick. They're going to be light. Because I know this is going to do damage. I don't have to put my body behind it to really sink that punch. All I've got to do is reach out and give him a caress, and I'm going to open him up to his bones. Yeah. So what's for that technique? All right, so to practice passing, we're going to narrow this down a little bit. Passes you generally don't do on arcing strikes. You're not going to pass something that's coming out here. You're going to stop it. However, if it's coming directly at you, that's when I'm going to pass it. And all I'm doing is I'm pushing it away. Now, depending on what system you're from, what your background is, how you manage that pass is up to you. Now, this is my favorite one, all right? Palm up. But that's because my background comes from Kimmey, and they're real big on the palm up because they like to pass right into here. Simple. People that have more kickboxing or traditional karate backgrounds will find a palm up approach more comfortable. Yeah. So the point of the pass is we are moving. And as you, again, with the palm up that I used, it leads you into other things. And maybe we can cover that at some other seminar. That's like a whole skill set that you build up to using that pass beyond just this. All right? And passes are great if you need to access a weapon, because now my hands are free. I've immediately gotten it out of the way in front. All right? So, back to our partners. And we're just going to do this nice and simple. We're going to start off with simple stabs. Keep everything within the box of the torso. That is where the pass is going to be the most useful. If you are passing something from the outside high line, you're just going to pass it right into yourself. So, be smart and don't do that. Yeah, it's very much like a pair. Like preparing a jack.
They come out to the walk. Now, first you got, I think they have a nice, when she bathed at the same time.
Oh, no, that's awesome. That's awesome because as this progresses, this is just like rudimentary stuff. But as you progress, you really start working these lines out here. Yeah, that's exactly where you should go.
You found your niche.
Yeah, that's when you start going. You start working these lines. Yeah, absolutely. And you start playing with sticks. I know you guys play with sticks. Needle one, you can roll, and now you're here.
No, it's not. These are phones, see?
It's all the same thing.
I've already come Very much.
You've got me in a lot of trouble, sir. So, carry it and put it. Not at all.
There you go.
You can do like that if I go here.
Yes.
See? Yeah, see that? There you go. Try to go over now.
You can get me before I can get back.
That's good if you're you have to stop and come back.
Yeah,
Always enjoy even. It's always fun. Huh?
You stand.
Well, here's something about this. When our teacher becomes, most people, like you said, no, I can still have the reality of this. So, it's that. It's very tight, it's really quick. It does. Yeah, right, and then it comes in. So it starts with a lot of motion because it keeps the lines moving. Then you tighten it up, and eventually this becomes. Try this for passes. Palm should make the contact, and the finger should just relax on your arm. It's that wet dish rag. Or wet dish rag.
You start thinking like that. I'm worried in there. You think of it.
Yeah, get finger, that'd be
It's so silly.
You know you're doing it though.
I'm not gonna cut or waste emotions. This instead, I'll start on that, you know, to have your waste emotions, she has to see it. Monster may make her punch. Yeah, see, that comes a lot.
That's it.
All right.
All right, let's bring this in real quick. We got one more fun thing to do. We're actually going to take ourselves away from these 7 cuts. All right, we're going to go with the 5 angles. This really is not difficult to see. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and angle 5 is a straight step. Okay? That's Cinco Terras, you have 5 angles, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do a really fun drill with this. The feeder is going to feed you angle 1. So you feed me angle 1. And I'm going to make a guillotine or a scissors action. I'm going to pass simultaneously as I cut the arm with the other. So feed me angle 1. Give me an angle 2. Give me an angle 3. Give me an angle 4. Give me an angle 5. That simple. All right. So let's do this as a drill. Grab your partner. This is a mobile drill, so you're going to be backing your partner up. Please forgive me for not moving around a lot. My right knee is a complete mess right now, so otherwise I'd be chasing you up and down here as well. So really all we're doing here, I'll feed you. This is all I want you to do is the feeder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just walking back, walk your partner up and down. Basically walk all the way down and then reverse the roll. So everybody come over here. And as a feeder, since I just did this 1, 2, if you suddenly forget what you're doing, just keep feeding them something, because it's not going to matter. All of this is a simple way to remember something while you're giving your opponent something to deal with. So if you forget it, you forget it. Just keep feeding them something.
That wasn't permission to do anything.
Okay.
Really new professors.
Thank you.
You're gonna get gas bomb out of the truck, you stay away from it.
You right.
You sure? Not like that.
Let's have together.
There you go. No, that's it. You need 1, you can get 2.
Oh, okay.
You just not cross? Cool.
Great, you did good, like, perfect.
Like it, Liz?
Don't touch yourself.
No, the hand. The knife don't hurt at all. It's just the block that hurts.
Awesome.
Very good.
Ready to go down?
It actually doesn't matter.
This is why you got it, this is why, anyway, it doesn't matter, because it's great.
I messed up. That's okay. Now I'm on the block. I do, my mind gets like right. And then I
Soon as you get back into it, it doesn't matter, you get.
All right. I think it's about time. So let me show you one little bonus thing. Come on, right? You don't need the knife. All right, that drill we just did is also your introduction to Panantukan, which is Filipino boxing. So if he throws a punch at me, boom. Throw a punch. It's scissoring. It's all the same thing. It's all the exact same thing. Whether it's a knife, whether you're empty-handed, whether it's a stick, whether it's a ballpoint pen, whether it's an ashtray, it doesn't matter. It could be your cell phone. Everything we've done here, everybody's got that cell phone in their hand. He attacks, boom, boom, with the corner of the cell phone in his face. It applies all the way across the board. That's why Filipino martial arts start with weapons and then move to empty hand. Because we're tool-using monkeys. All right? I can spend 6 months practicing how to punch, learning how to throw a powerful blow in a heavy day, learning my timing. Or I could pick up a knife and in an hour, you now have the skill set to actually go away from here and defend yourself with a knife. Now, are you going to be an amazing knife fighter? No. But what you do now have is a rudimentary understanding. And if somebody's attacking you with a knife, now you understand how to basically block. All of that being said, the best knife defense in the world is this. I've been practicing Kali for over 25 years now. I still get regularly stabbed by my students who've been there 6 months. And I practice a lot, and I'm good. So, keep that in mind. This is a very, very, very powerful tool. And hope you all enjoy it. And hopefully, we'll do another class sometime in the future. We'll work one out.
Bryan's got a seminar actually.
June 4th.
Before in Columbia for Kirby, curved blade that pulled out earlier. Yeah. And don't have the regular sessions now? Or
I teach privately out of my shop. And I used to teach twice a week, but it's summertime and everybody's got schedules, so we've condensed it down into one night a week. But if anybody's interested and you want to come out and you want to train, you want to get some experience doing this, just get my contact info from Frank or hit me up on Facebook, and you can come out and train with us and learn some fun stuff. We follow the full progression of training that I teach my students. But one of the things to understand about the Filipino martial arts can be best described the way classes are held. If you go into a traditional martial arts school, everybody stands in lines by rank. Teacher stands in front. There's a lot of respect. There's a lot of tradition. And understand, I'm not putting that down. That's where I started. That's where my roots are from. The Filipino martial arts, the Indonesian martial arts are tribal. When people meet, when they go to train, they stand in a circle. The classes will start once everybody gets a beginning foundation and has a toolbox that they can work from. From that toolbox, it just rotates in a spiral. And you might come in, you might miss a class or two, you don't miss anything because you come around to it, because all of these techniques go together. The big thing behind the Filipino martial arts is it is not, a lot of people have trouble conceptualizing this. It is not a set of techniques to fight with, though those exist. It is a way of thinking about fighting. It's a way of understanding motion. It's a way of understanding how this is a slash, this is a hammer fist, this is a block, this is a pass. It's how all of that stuff grows together, and it's taught in this very circular, informal kind of fashion, which is very different to people that come up in much more traditional, and when I say traditional, I mean Japanese or Chinese martial arts, because they were much more family focused as opposed to in Southeast China, Indochina, the Philippines, their family, their tribe. In Japan, it was the entire society, it was the culture, it was the military. So you have that very rigid structure in the way things are taught. Neither one's wrong, they're just different. All right? All right, let me get my knives back.
Give me that knife. Give me it. Thank you very much.
I still feel it.